SummertimeGardening.com, and it's time again for another one of those State of the Harvest tours. Well, I take you around the garden and show you the food I'm pulling out of my garden right now at this point in time, and it is the August 1st, 2021. So let's go have a look and see what's happening. All right, here we are at the entrance of the garden, and I've got these garlic are just about ready to be harvested. Maybe another week or so, pull these out. So the garlic are definitely, all the garlic in the garden are basically either ready or almost ready. These potatoes are being pulled. I've pulled maybe a third of them so far. These are the first potatoes I planted this year, red New Orleans. So they're doing great. Over here, of course, I've got the French sorrel and the bloody dock, and lots of herbs and stuff like that. These potatoes are almost ready for harvest, I would say. They're starting to, there's still some that are deep green, right? But some of them are starting to turn, but I'm not really pulling potatoes out of this bed yet. Over here, I've got kale, of course, that's in full swing. I've got the Siberian kale and just blue Scotch curly kale. Basically harvesting this every couple of days. For those that watch my channel a lot, early in the season I planted this dandelion called Italian punto dandelion in another part of my garden. I moved them here, and this is going to be their permanent home. This, I mean, how much dandelion greens can you possibly eat anyway, right? So these are a variety, a cultivar of dandelion. They're supposed to be pretty good eating. I've noticed it is August and these still have not bolted. I remember the package saying they were bolt proof, and they are. Now, I mean, in terms of taste, they taste like dandelion greens. I won't lie to you. Like, if you pick one of these up and eat it raw, it's not, you know, some people love dandelion greens. I wouldn't even have these in a salad, but I do add them. Specifically, I like adding them to various kinds of pasta dishes as a cooked green. But anyway, they totally work. This is supposed to be a perennial. So I'm harvesting them now. Just take a few leaves every once in a while, and I'm doing stuff where they fit into the meal, a soup or a pasta or something like that. And they're working out great. Over here I got green beans, and these are ready now. I harvested a whole bunch. You can see some of them, these are still a bit small here, but I harvested a whole bowl of them yesterday. That's why they're a bit small now. But basically every 2-3 days I got to come out and pick green beans. So these are doing great. The rabbit's been at these a little bit, so I'll have to deal with that somehow. Those little tiny cherry tomatoes, I think it's called Cherry Falls or something like that. Cherry tomatoes, they're like a patio plant. People were asking me how they did. I had one that had been just about killed by a cutworm. This is that one, it's doing fine. But these are starting to ripen. You can see a bit of red in there, right? I've eaten a couple of them. I imagine the next week or so these will be coming in great. So yeah, if you're in a short growing season place and you want a fast growing tomato, I would go with that. And they're kind of like a cherry, but they get, you know, they get decent size, maybe 1.5 inches in diameter. Very sort of productive plant for its size. And I think in this space here, having 3 is too many. I think just 2 plants side by side in a 4-foot wide bed is probably a better spacing for this plant. So I'll have to remember that for next year. I guess speaking to that, I had tucked a few of them in with these garlic just to see how well they would do. They did not do well. Here's one of them right there, right? Nothing to write home about by comparison, right? Look at the size of this one next to my hand. Nothing to it, right? Now look at this. Oops, shade there. Look at this one next to my hand, right? I could barely get it in the frame. So, yeah, I have to say, planting them, tucking them in with the garlic has not worked out well at all. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, but yeah, those plants would have achieved much more potential if they'd been here. And it's not that this has bad soil, because I got garlic here. I pulled one the other day. I'll show you. Oh, these garlic are ready to be pulled. So this one here came from that bed a couple days ago, right? Came from right there. All right, so this is good soil. You can't get garlic this size, you know, 3.5 inches in diameter without good soil. Just all there is to it. I mean, some of these, they're an inch at the base. This one looks, look at the thickness of that. Look at my thumb, right? It's as thick as your thumb, you know you got something going on. So yeah, the reason these tomatoes aren't doing well has got nothing to do with the soil. I just don't think they're getting the sun they need. Nestled in with these garlic. So maybe it'll change once I pull the garlic out, which I will do this week. Because these garlic are ready. So a bed over here where I had carrots, and you can see there's been a rabbit. This is rabbit damage. Look at this one here. Just that's how they just chew them down from the top. I got a rabbit in my garden somewhere. I've seen him, but I haven't been able to do anything about it yet. Seen him or her. So I mean, it's a bit late. It's too late in the season to plant carrots. I've replanted 4 times, so I planted some cilantro here. You know, I mean, all this time of year, 1st of August, you got to plant fast-growing things. Cilantro, lettuce, spinach, stuff like that, right? So yeah, this year I did not get a decent crop of carrots because of, as far as I can tell, maybe 1 or 2 rabbits getting in the garden. So that's another note to self on my list of things to do. I have to shore up the outer perimeter a little bit better. The smaller, younger rabbits can get through this fencing. Right, my fence is 2" by 4". I bought that type of fencing because it's on a per foot basis, it's cheaper, right? But a rabbit can squeeze through that. Not a full-grown mature rabbit, but a juvenile can get through that, and they can do a lot of damage. They can take out an entire bed of carrots in one night if their carrots are a couple inches high. These beets are all ready. I've been harvesting these. I mean, getting some. There's one I just pulled up this morning. Look at that. That's a nice beet. So yeah, the beets seem to always do well over here in this spot. So in this bed here, I've got parsnips growing, and they're not ready at all, and you wouldn't eat them this time of year even if they were. But I just got this wild dill coming up. I thought, why not just I just use this dill as I need it. I'll eventually be using it with these cucumbers when they're ready. Cucumbers are starting to form, but they're not really ready yet. I planted this dill to have with the cucumbers for making pickles and stuff like that, right? But anyway, that's coming along great. My peas over here, peas and potatoes, right? And peas are doing okay. They're not as good as other years, but the whole thing blew down one day, and I had to bring it all back, and a number of them died as a result of just being bent, right? The stems got bent. But anyway, we're still getting, peas, just not as much as normal. But we had a whole bunch. We picked all the big ones yesterday. So every 2-3 days we're going to pick those. They're doing great. Zucchini. Zucchini are definitely in full swing. This is I can't remember what this is called, but something like sunshine or something like, it's got a name like that, summer sunshine or something. That's doing great. And this one here, over here, I only had 2 of these make it, but this is Lebanese Magda. Oh, geez, there's a bee there. It's got, well, you can see in there, but it's got this light green color to it. So there was one larger one that we ate last night, and it's delicious. It's a delicious, gently nutty flavored zucchini. Very soft skin, very lovely. Right, I think I've got one more of them growing here where there had been an anthill. This is a Magda as well, I think. Otherwise, the rest of them, I think they're all, no, this is a Magda as well. You can see there's a light green. So I got 3 of those, but mostly those yellows. I love the way the zucchini relish you can make with the yellow ones. Anyway, so we got zucchini. Over here we've got Swiss chard. For me, this is just the right amount, basically like a 4x8 beds worth of Swiss chard, right? We have a good mess of Swiss chard at least once a week. I actually like mixing it with kale as well. Blueberries are just beginning to ripen, some of them. I've been noticing the birds around, sniffing around, so hopefully, I'm gonna have to put some netting over these. And I'm afraid I'm going away next week. I'll be gone for a week, and I fear that these blueberries will be basically in their prime while I'm away. And I'll lose them all. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that, but we've got a lot of nice blueberries forming up, right? But they're not ready yet. They're close. Over here we have the beet bed that was decimated by weeds. But you know, we still have some pretty nice beets growing in here. And that whole area that was cleared out, that's all come back in nice just by moving some of them around. Right, and they're forming up. But I mean, we look in here, we got, see if I can find one that's formed. Yeah, I can pull that. Yes, that's a nice beet, right? And if you saw this bed, I don't know, that wasn't too long ago, less than a month ago when I weeded this thing, it was just completely overrun with weeds. It was a disaster zone. But yeah, we got some nice beets coming along in here. This is more blue Scotch curly kale. This was growing in the other kale garden, and I moved it to here, you know, I don't know, in May or give or take. And now it's basically becoming fully realized. Very productive, very nice looking kale, a lot of that, right? So we're harvesting that now and preserving it and so on and so forth. I got a video coming out soon. If it doesn't come out before I put this video out, showing different ways to cook summer kale, because summer kale, basically pre-frost kale, does not taste as good as the kale you start pulling out in October, November, December. And there's reasons for that. And I thought I'd do a cooking video showing different ways to prepare summer kale to get around the fact that it's just a little, not as sweet, let's say, let's put it that way, not as sweet as the fall kale. But anyway, we're still eating it, it's fine. There's ways to get around it. This parsnip bed is doing pretty good, despite all the challenges I had with parsnips early on in the season. And usually when I plant parsnips, I have at least one row of parsley. So that's what this is. So we're harvesting this. I love that, what's it called, pasta aioli, you know, like pasta with olive oil and garlic and, you know, hot chilies and some parsley. My kids love it. I like it. I usually put anchovies in it too, right? But anyway, this is essential for that. I've got parsley growing elsewhere in the garden as well. But definitely parsley season is on, and I'll continue for quite some time. Got some nice onions coming out of the garden here. There's a nice one there. That's a Sturian variety. Good 3-incher there, right? So I got some nice onions. And that's because I gave them, I mean, people think of, they give all their best real estate to their tomatoes, their peppers and stuff like that. But if you want big onions, you have to give them a good spot with good sun. You have nice onions, right? Very important. What are these called? Egyptian walking onions. They've all gone to seed, right? They just get this sort of crazy look, right? Like that, right? Each one of these can be planted, and you know, many of these are going to have to be given away because I just have too many. But this time of year, you actually, these big thick ones that, you know, every one of the plants creates a big thick thing and then makes babies. You pull the big thick thing out of the base, okay, and you get an onion, right? It's like flavor-wise, it's sort of like a shallot, so it's a bit sharper than an onion, but milder than a garlic. But that's a good size. That's almost 2 inches in diameter. Right, so all of those are ready to be harvested. I just sort of pull them as I need them right now, right? I told my wife to stop buying onions in the grocery store. And, I mean, this is just great. So this bed's just dedicated to being Egyptian walking onions, right? All these little seed ones will just fall to the ground. I'll cover the whole thing with a mulch, probably seaweed, because I used seaweed last year and it worked well. And we just keep getting these with very little work. That's my style, right? Over here we got broccoli and cauliflower bed, and the broccoli's, you know, starting to form up nice. It's a nice looking broccoli, right? So you got different stages of development, because some of these were moved, right? I planted them all under a covered thing, and then once it got warm enough, I spaced them out properly. So the ones that weren't moved are much more ahead of the ones that were, like this one here, right? And this plant here, I don't know what this is. This just grew. I found that this was growing in one of my walking paths. I think it's a collard green. It doesn't look like a cabbage. It's not growing like a cabbage. It's growing like a collard. But I don't know what the hell it is. but it looked really healthy and it grew on its own. So, you know, I sort of had to give it a home. It was just so tenacious. It was demanding an existence. So we'll just let it express itself and figure it out what it is as we go. I'm pretty sure this is a collard green. I've grown them in previous years. I must have been planting collard greens and just dropped one seed and it grew. Right, so anyway, that's what that is. That's why it doesn't really match. Some of these are cauliflower. I just don't know which, right? I'm hoping it's these. I'm hoping I get some cauliflower because I love cauliflower. This bed here had garlic in it. I just pulled all the garlic, so they're right here. I just did a video recently talking about good soil and bad soil. So I mean, these garlic, I mean, they're respectable. That's what you get at a grocery store, about that size, right? But they're not my best, right? And I mean, garlic as small as this came into this garden because just, you know, the soil is just lacking in something. I did a whole video on, you know, these squash were grown here, and these same squash are these. Good soil, bad soil, right? So same thing with these garlic. These are not as big as the other ones, you know, so this bed needs some sort of, you know, manure or something like that, more organic matter, more, you know, just more of whatever makes soil good. That bed needs it. I'm going to guess a wheelbarrow full of horse manure will probably make a world of difference in this bed. Got some nice cabbage here, just almost ready to harvest, but not quite, right? So that's where we are, August 1st, 2021. Plenty of things coming out of the garden, plenty to do, plenty of things to harvest. I probably missed a couple things, but that's the gist of it. I mean, I didn't go cover every single thing. I got herbs and stuff like that, my herb garden, all kinds of stuff like that is right as well. But anyway, the gist of it is that's what's coming out of the garden right now. We got potatoes, a lot of garlic, right? A lot of greens, all that stuff. It's all happening, right? And pretty soon we're going to be into the tomato business and all that other stuff. So, and the cucumbers, right? But anyway, I hope you found that interesting. Hope you got some ideas along the way. If you did like this, please, you know, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, right? Check out my podcast, maritimegardening.com. And until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.